James Mangold brings the story of Bob Dylan's early rise to fame to the big screen in a complete unknown, which he was when he first came to Greenwich Village, and is a line from the song Like a Rolling Stone, in case you didn't know what the story was about. So this stars Timothée Chalamet as Bob Dylan. This features Monica Barbaro as Joan Baez. This features Ed Norton as Pete Seeger. This features Elle Fanning as Sylvie Russo. This features a lot of people that you may or may not know in the film. Scoot McNairy as the ailing Woody Guthrie. This is a really good movie. I'm not a giant Dylan fan. I appreciate the hits, you know. I appreciate Tweeter and the Monkey Man from the Traveling Wilburys album. You know, Dylan's cool. Dylan's cool. I've never been inspired to want to read a book about him or buy all the albums or anything like that. So I went into this knowing a decent amount about Dylan, but not a ton. And that probably helped me by sort of getting this from everything I've read, and I've tried to do a bit of reading before I sat down to do this, from everything I've read, the film is mostly accurate. This film does what a lot of biopics do, which is you only have a couple hours. This is about 2.5 hours, and it really does not feel like it. It zips right by. You only have a couple hours. You want to tell the overall story, but you can't include every single person who was instrumental. You can't include every single incident that was instrumental. So you do what they call composite characters, where one character might represent what a couple people did, or you might compress the timeline, you might rearrange things a little. You want to make it an entertaining movie and not a lecture. So that's from what I understand what this film does. So I'll point out a couple inaccuracies here and there, but there are great articles online you can read that really delve into it. But most Dylan experts agree that this is a really solid biopic. Dylan himself was very much involved in this biopic. Apparently, he suggested some of the things that aren't true that are in the movie. He suggested some of the alterations, like Elle Fanning, who plays his girlfriend, Sylvie Russo. That was not the woman's actual name, and a lot of parts about her character were changed to protect her privacy. Some things like that, you know, the way certain characters meet didn't really happen. Johnny Cash was not really at the Newport Folk Festival in 1965, where the film sort of all leads up to, but performances in this film are outstanding. Pete Seeger, as portrayed by Ed Norton, really good. From what I know about Pete Seeger, he certainly captured the spirit of what I've seen and heard of Pete Seeger and the voice pattern and all that. Chalamet is fantastic as Dylan. He and Monica Barbaro, who as Joan Baez, is also excellent. They do all of their singing and playing in the film live. So it's not them lip syncing to the original recordings. It's not them lip syncing to a new recording by the original person or a new recording by a sound-alike, which always sounds off. What you see on screen is what you're getting. What you see on screen is what they were doing on set in that moment. Really, really impressive. It hits a lot of the hits. You know, a lot of the music is heard in full in this movie. It's just this exhilarating, fun, inspirational, moving portrait of this guy who just kind of blew in the wind, as it were, like a rolling stone, into Greenwich Village in the early 60s, and just was this unusual, unlike anything people had seen before, element, kind of a rock and roll guy in a folk world, and kept people off balance, off their toes. That's a thing too. Throughout the movie, Dylan, in the form of Timothée Chalamet, says things like, you know, people make you into whatever they want you to be, and whatever your past is, you have a say in what people know about your past and all that. That really plays into the inaccuracies in this film, and apparently has been consistent with Dylan all his life. Is he'll tell people different things at different times. He'll tell people overtly ridiculous or bogus things just to keep people off balance, keep the upper hand, and have fun. So I did not take this, or do I, any biopic as completely accurate, but it really nails the era really well. It really recreates Greenwich Village in the early 60s to a really cozy degree, and the recording studios, apparently a lot of effort was put into making everything as accurate as it could possibly be. Like, they didn't shoot it in Greenwich Village because it's wildly unrealistic for any film to be able to shut down that area of New York right now. So they shot it in New Jersey, but they did it as best they could geographically to mimic what the area was like. The recording studio, apparently everything in it was accurate and everything in it worked. Everything you see on screen. So there's a lot of that kind of stuff. If you're just an average moviegoer, I think you will enjoy this a lot. If you're a casual Dylan fan or a fan of the times or the folk music of that period or the era, I think you're going to like this a lot. I went to see this at a Friday matinee, 3 p.m. The place was packed. Most of the people were older than me, and there was a healthy amount of applause at the end of the film, and the woman behind me was like, I can't believe how good that was. So I'm not saying it's one of the greatest movies ever, but I think as far as musical biopics go, it's really good. As far as honoring Dylan's spirit goes, I think it's really good. The guy had a hand in it. He signed off on it. He apparently, I read, he performed the entire script himself to himself before he okayed it. So it has his blessing. Chalamet is somebody I can take or leave, but he's really good in this. He really embodies the feel of Dylan. When you hear him singing, it's really close. When you see that he's actually playing, knowing he actually plays a guitar, it's really impressive. So strong cast. And again, can't say enough about Monica Barbaro in this film and what she embodies with Joan Baez as this independent spirit herself who sort of has entanglements with Dylan, on and off again, romantic or just alliance with Dylan. And yeah, excellent film. See it on the big screen if you can. It really sucks you in. The sound is fantastic. And in theaters currently, eventually online and streaming, a complete unknown.